If you're curious about exploring Tantra or getting involved in Tantra, then you really need to know this before you start. A lot of people get themselves in some tricky situations when they start exploring Tantra because they don't really understand a few things. So I just want to make this video to share with you the truth about Tantra from my perspective. Now, Tantra is something that is very open to different interpretations. But this is my truth, my view of the world, and I have been studying this for a while now. I teach this, we run retreats, we do workshops in London, all around the world, and we have our Academy of Conscious Sexuality. Tantra has the potential to change the whole world. But most people, they don't really know what Tantra is, and they don't know how to practice it in a safe way, in a way that is expansive. And that's actually really interesting because Tantra, the word, so firstly let's just talk about that. So Tantra means scriptures, it means structure, but it also means expansion. It stands for instrument of expansion. And there's also another meaning of Tantra, which is to weave, and it's about weaving in traditions, weaving in different practices. And the tantras that a lot of people talk about, they're these scriptures that are very old, and they give you a way of living your life that will bring you happiness, that will bring you love, that will bring you connection. Now, you've probably heard of Tantra from a movie or from a book. Maybe you've heard of tantric sex and you think that Tantra is all about sex. And this is one of the things that really trips people up. Yes, tantric sex is amazing. Tantric sex is expansive. It's one of the most incredible things that you can experience with a loving partner when you are both in a great space. But sex is actually a tiny part of what Tantra is all about. I'd love to know your experiences with Tantra so far. Comment below, let me know. Have you tried it? Are you interested in exploring it? What's your current understandings, and any questions, and I'll get to them. So tantric sex is a tiny part of what the Tantra teachings are all about. For me, I like to think about it in three ways. The first part of Tantra is about understanding your own energy. This is what most of the practices are about. They're about how you can become a clear vessel, how you can live a healthy lifestyle, how you can understand your physical self, your body, how it works, its functions, and how you can live in a way that allows it to function optimally. This is things like yoga, this is things like breath work. Tantra teachings teach about your diet, your lifestyle. They teach you not to eat any meat in many of the teachings. It's how to do things that raise your vibration, that can bring you to an accelerated level of consciousness. Because most people are living very low vibration lives. They feel trapped, they feel stuck, they're unhappy, and they don't really know how to get out of that cycle. And this is what the Tantra teachings bring. So your physical body, there's a lot about that. Also your mind, your mental body. How do you really free yourself from the trappings of your ego? Because if you want to be a fully empowered being, if you want to have incredible connections and sexual experiences, it's very hard to do that when you're stuck in your head. And this is where so many people live. So many people are trapped in their mind. They can't even really be present because they're so busy worrying about the past or the future. And even when they're with a lover, let's say you're with the most amazing person, are you really there 100%? Or are you distracted because you haven't trained your mind? And meditation is a big part of the tantric teachings. Learning how to focus, learning how to be present. And I know this might sound like a lot of work, and it is. Learning Tantra is a whole lifestyle, and this is where a lot of people get stuck, and this is one of the points of the video. They think they're just going to come and learn about sex, but when we share with them that you have to change your whole lifestyle if you want to have this ability to access these highest possible levels of consciousness, And this is during your normal life, not just during your sexual experiences. You need to do this deep inner work. You need to really go into your shadow. You need to release those things that are holding you back. And this is the third thing around the clearings, is around your emotions. The tantric teachings teach about how to understand and use emotions. Because sex is one of the most powerful things you can do. You can use sexual energy for creation, for manifestation, for magic. But if you are angry, if you are upset, if you are bringing grief or worry, these things, they block your energy centers. And it's totally, totally okay to feel anger, grief, shame. Those things are a beautiful part of this life experience. And everything needs contrast. If there was no sadness, then joy wouldn't really mean anything. But how do you actually connect with these emotions and use them? Two of my top ever sexual experiences have both involved me being so open, so raw, so vulnerable. I was crying my eyes out. And there was one time where I was with a partner who's actually now my wife. And I remember expressing one of my deepest fears to her in the middle of a lovemaking session. It was something that was so present in me, I couldn't actually be fully with her because I had this fear coming up, and I was so afraid of intimacy. I'm so afraid of really just allowing myself to be seen. Let me know if you've ever experienced that, or if you can resonate with that. Have you ever had a fear of being seen, of really allowing someone in fully? But this is how you access the highest possible states. I call them soul orgasms. This is possible for everyone. The physical orgasm that we have during sexual intercourse is like a tiny part of what is possible, but you have to work on these things. You have to be able to process it, and it's really important that if you're with a partner and you're doing this together, you need to be able to be free, to be open, to be vulnerable with whatever shows up. Sex isn't always sunshine and rainbows. Sometimes it's deeply diving into shadow, and that can be some of the most rewarding and incredible times. Let me know if this makes sense to you. And so you have your emotional body. Now you have to also work on your physical energy. You need so your spiritual energy. So we've done physical, mental, emotional, now spiritual energy. How do we be aligned with whatever you want to call that thing that is greater than all of us? Whatever that thing is that created you, me, and everything. You can call it source or God or the universe or consciousness or your higher self or energy or love or whatever feels true for you. When you bring that energy into your relationships, this is where real bliss happens. This is where real ecstasy happens. This is where real joy happens, is when you're connected, right? And I know this because I used to abuse sex and drugs and alcohol to escape, because I wasn't really happy in my life. And I know now when I look back, I was just so disconnected from the truth of who I am, because I hadn't worked on these four things: the physical, the mental, the emotional, the spiritual. And now this is why I love to teach this stuff to people. This is why I run workshops, why we do retreats. We have a workshop this Wednesday coming up in London. It's called Arrow Mantra Tantra, and we're teaching people how to activate and awaken their senses, how to use smells and tastes and touch and hearing and feeling to really awaken them and activate their DNA at the deepest level, so they can feel these states, these highest possible states of consciousness. And every single one of you who is watching this or listening to this, you can access this. This is possible for you. It's going to take some work. But if you do the work, it is the most rewarding, the most incredible self-expansion you can go into. But the truth is, most people don't want to do the work. They want the reward without putting in the effort. They want the six-pack without going to the gym. They want to be able to connect to the divine without actually doing the alignments. And this is crazy. And this is why a lot of people get frustrated. But it's also why a lot of people have, or one of the reasons why people have had some dark experiences with Tantra is because they're not doing this deep work. They're going straight to the connecting. But imagine if your vessel is not clear, if you don't know how to deal with your emotions, if you haven't mastered your mind, if you have lots of blockages, and then you come and you make love to another person who is that. And now, so you're both coming together with so much muckiness there. It's very challenging if you're not trained how to deal with this stuff. And this creates all sorts of uncomfortable situations. And I know this because I've been there. I used to go to nightclubs and find girls and take them home and not even know their name the next day and never see them again. And sometimes that was really fun. I'm not going to lie and say it wasn't fun. Sometimes it was great, but sometimes, and most of the time, it's actually really not. And you would wake up the next day and instead of feeling great, you feel like less. Instead of feeling amazing after connecting with another beautiful divine being, I used to feel guilty or ashamed or sad or let me know if you've ever experienced anything like that too. So once you've mastered your own energy, the next part about learning about Tantra is to understand how other people's energies work. How does the world around you work? How does the universe work? Connecting with the earth, with the divine, with nature, with other people, learning how to relate, how to be a great communicator, how to ask for what you want, because you might be really clear on your desires, but how do you express that to others in a way that makes them feel safe? How do you create great boundaries? Because boundaries are what give you freedom. When you're playing a game, if you have rules to the game, then you can all relax. But if there's no rules, that can be kind of crazy. And sometimes that's okay if you feel really safe with the person. But a lot of people get trapped in sexual situations in particular, or in relationships where they don't feel safe. Their boundaries are being crossed all the time, and this leads to some very challenging situations and often health issues physically and mentally. So Tantra is really a great tool, learning these practices and these principles to help you with your relation to yourself, but also to the rest of the world. And now once you understand how your energy works, you understand how the universe works, the universal energies, how to connect with others in a conscious way, now you're ready to come together and make love. And when two energies come together, when two clear vessels come together, that is where you create these beautiful soul orgasms. This is where you become one. And this is one of my most profound experiences I ever had, is where you're making love and you get to a point where you're so connected that you literally don't know where you start and they end. And when this happens, I usually just cry because it's so beautiful and it's overwhelming. We're not used to handling that kind of divine love, but it's so worth it. But you have to do the work. So if you know you want to do the work, find a great teacher, find a mentor, read some books, go to some courses. There's loads of retreats you can go on if you want to learn intensely. That's one of the things we run. Like I said, we have a workshop coming up this Wednesday in London. We have loads of workshops and retreats all around the world. So you can join my private Facebook group. It's called the Academy of Conscious Sexuality if you're interested. Or you can search for us online. I just want to leave you with this. If you are thinking about exploring Tantra, if maybe you dabbled in it, but it didn't quite work out, I'll say you probably didn't find the right teacher. There are so many different styles, and you need to find the style that works for you. There are some very traditional places you can go and learn the tantric teachings, where you go and study for years and years and years. I know people who've been studying Tantra for 10 years and they're still learning all the time. And you can also go to some more new age kind of workshops and retreats where they just teach you the more kind of condensed versions, but then you need to go off after that and do the deep work, because learning yoga, learning breath work, mastering meditation, this takes time. There's no way of getting around it. You have to put in the practice, but you can learn some of the principles very quickly and then start applying those. I've got loads of videos on my YouTube, on my Facebook, everywhere. You can search for Luke Scott Tantra, Luke Scott Conscious Sexuality, Luke Scott Academy of Conscious Sexuality, and you'll be able to find loads of deeper trainings there. But I just wanted to put this here for you so I could tell you the truth. And the truth about Tantra is that it takes work. It's not a quick fix. It's not about just having amazing sex. It's a whole lifestyle, and it is one of the best things you can ever do. 5 years ago, I didn't do yoga, I didn't meditate, I didn't know any of that stuff. And now that I do, everything in my life is better, and everything in your life can be better too. So take the step, come to our workshop, check out the videos, drop me a message if you're interested, and we can talk. We do private one-on-one sessions too. We have online courses, like wherever you're at, we have something. And our goal with the Academy of Conscious Sexuality, in my visions I see so clearly, is to become the #1 provider of sex education for adults and young people in the world. I know that it's a huge mission, but so many of our young people now, they're just not being taught about sex and intimacy, and what they are taught is actually quite damaging. And we want to change that. I hope you found this useful. If you liked this, please do check out the other videos. Please do share, tag people, spread the word. The more people we can get awakened and conscious and really diving deep into this, the faster we can shift the whole world, and the more beautiful, loving relationships we're all going to have. So just remember, take one step, read one book, go to one course. Try it, see if it feels good. If not, there's so many books, so many courses out there. You need to find the right teacher, and you will see it will change your whole life. Take care. Practice, practice, practice by yourself and with others in a loving, safe, conscious way. Make sure to set your boundaries, be really clear on your boundaries, and make sure that everything you do is consensual, and be really, really conscious about energy. If you're mixing your energy with another person, if you're mixing your sexual energy, it's called a sacred energy exchange. That is very, very deep mixing. Once you entangle your energy with another person, you're entangled with them forever. And so don't take it lightly, the people that you share your sexual energy with, because it is very powerful, potent for manifestation, for creation. Take care. I look forward to seeing you either in person or on another video soon. And please do comment below any questions about Tantra, about conscious sexuality, about anything like that. And if there's anything you'd like me to make a video on, please do let me know too. I have been posting a video on my YouTube channel every single day. I'm posting so often, and yeah, I just really want to share and add loads of value. So take care, and look forward to hearing from you all.